Bam, we're live. Wow. I'll tell you what, a lot of nights it takes like 15 minutes to get this thing going. All right. Welcome, guys. So here we are. Let's get the screen shared over here. Alrighty, here we go. So look, now we're live. All right. So here we are. We're on day 23 of the 30-day AI prompt challenge for remodelers, and things are moving along good. So let's get into it. Hopefully at this point, you guys have had plenty of time to mess around with these different prompts, right? And you've used several different AI generators at this point. All right. So again, we are in pillar 5, which is our marketing and advertising section. This is, again, we're talking about when you start understanding how everything's connected, right? The image that you portray as a business, the way your vehicle looks, the way you look, your guys, the way you communicate, the way your website looks, the way your ads look, all of that parlays into who you attract as a client. So like in general, if the business is not attracting good clients and you're struggling, then you can understand you need to work on the image and the message that you're putting out there, because you're attracting who you're attracting. So some guys, I hear this a lot, guys will say, man, it's nothing but cheap clients. Well, something about your messaging, you're attracting cheap clients. Like, figure it out. Like, what could you change if you were a wealthy client? What is it that you look for in the company that you're going to hire, right? So once you start figuring this out, like, you'll be like, damn, it's that easy. Just got to rinse and repeat. All right, let's get into it. So again, something to think about is you can be chasing clients or you can work to attract them, right? And the guys that win long-term are the ones that do both pretty good and are good at storytelling, right? When you consistently can share helpful, interesting content online, offline, right? When you know how to build trust before someone even contacts you. Nowadays, so I started my first website in maybe early 2002, maybe it was. I know we didn't have it in 1999, but I think it was maybe it was, yeah, somewhere around 2002, 2004, we launched a website, right? And we were not the first in the game, but we were early in the game. And what was nice about the website is we could tell our story. We could put images of the business and the type of work that we did and who we wanted to attract. And when I first started, I didn't have the most beautiful Rolodex. I did not have like super high-end business work to put on there. A lot of my jobs were just regular. It was a deck, basic deck. It was a basic kitchen, a couple rehabs, nothing super fancy. So it took a little time to build that up. So, and understand that once we built up a more higher clientele of work, let's say a better book of work, we were able to more easily attract higher clientele. So everything's connected. All right. So you want to show people, in my opinion, that you're professional, you're knowledgeable, and you want to keep your business top of mind. And you stay top of mind by frequently putting your message out there. And you want to attract leads who are already pre-sold with working with you. So the more questions that you can answer on your website before they call you by putting some ballpark pricing out there, going through your process, letting people know that if you focus on quality and not price, right? So that they know they're not going to, if they want the cheapest, that they shouldn't even call you, right? You're almost pre-weeding the lead, because when they call, that's when you're really going to weed them out. And you want this to be consistent, whether it's your blog posts, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, right? All marketing, even word of mouth. All right. So what are some examples of some great remodeling content, right? look at adding and finding good blog titles, the top kitchen trends, maybe a Facebook video that shows some before and after, a reel that answers like the top 3 questions homeowners should ask a contractor, right? So we have a whole guide. If you don't have this and you need it, I've got the consumer guide to hiring a good remodeler, and I can provide that for you. And you can hand that to your clients ahead of time, right? These are good things to get clients thinking along the right track of hiring a professional, licensed, insured contractor. All right. So, and it's not that you're bragging how great you are. The focus of your message should be to educate people so that they understand what your company is about, and you want to inspire people and build some sort of an emotional connection. So find a way to get a little bit of your personality out there so they can connect, right? That's the heart of the applied relational intelligence. So how does AI help with all this? Because now you don't have to sit in front of a blank screen forever, right? You can get a couple ideas going, and you can pop it into a prompt, and you can get a first draft of content, and then you can repurpose that. You'll save the hours, right? And you'll be able to do things more consistent. So here's an AI prompt to help you with your content creation. Because at some point, you got to put something out there, okay? So maybe you'll ask the prompt to help you brainstorm 10 topics, right? And do you want them to be educational? Do you want them to be inspirational? Do you want to do a blend, right? You can put out there the type of content that you want. If you see somebody else in the area who's doing really well, and you notice you compete against them a lot, then maybe you should look at some of their content and offer your take on some similar style topics, right? I'll give you an example. So for me, as someone who helps remodelers often, there are other people that do what I do in the industry, and some are more well known, some are less well known. Some have been doing it the same amount of time as me, some less, some more, right? So I was later into getting online. There's other guys that, I've been doing the coaching for over 10 years, and I'm a big proponent of utilizing a handyman portion to grow a business, right? There is a huge market. The reason why a lot of guys are against handyman is because they don't understand how to operate a handyman business successfully. So on one hand, it is good advice to tell a lot of guys to not get into handyman work, because if you don't understand, if you're not efficient and you don't understand how to price it and you're not organized, it'll kill you. But for those of you that are organized and can be efficient, handyman is amazing because it becomes a marketing machine for your remodeling business. And if you've never run a full service remodeling business, which a lot of guys have not done, okay, there's a lot of guys that painted some houses, built some decks, maybe remodeled a kitchen or two. But when you get into doing full scale design, build, and full rehabs and additions and kitchens and baths, you start seeing how these small handyman projects that a lot of clients can't find someone talented to do, right? There's a misnomer out there. On one hand, people say handyman because they want someone who can do a small job. However, what a lot of homeowners don't want is someone that's not talented. And there tends to be, for some reason, more than a handful of handymen out there that run around that are a little bit, let's say, sloppy. They're not the most attention to detail. They don't do the best work. A lot of homeowners don't want that. A lot of homeowners want a professional who's neat and organized and very precise to do their handyman work. They just want someone who will come in and do a job that's less than $1,000. So when you figure out how to work that model into your remodeling business, what ends up happening is you'll go out, we would install a couple of big screen TVs or build a small couple shelf units like in a parlor or maybe somebody's office. We do maybe a $500 job. A couple months later, that person be calling us back to do their kitchen. build their addition, redo their bathroom. So it is a marketing machine, right? And that can be part of your content, is that you can explain to homeowners why you're such a good choice. Say, hey, if you have some small projects, give us a call. One of my carpenters can come out maybe first thing in the morning or come out towards the end of the day, and we can take care of some of those small projects for you. Now, again, you got to have the right personality styles within your team, and you got to understand how to operate the handyman business. For those of you that like to run big crews and everybody likes to drive together, right? You got 4 guys in the truck, they all meet at the office, they all ride to the job, they all come home together. That model is not going to work as a handyman. You're not sending 4 guys out to do a small job for an hour, typically. Okay, does that make sense? Not unless they're all going to sit off the clock because they're like family, for the one guy who's actually getting paid. All right, enough about that. So anyhow, you want to focus on what you do, right? Kitchens and baths, let's say, common questions and trends. For each topic, provide a compelling title, a sentence summary, for example, how to budget for a kitchen remodel, a breakdown of costs so you know where to invest and where to save, a mix of educational how-to tips and inspirational trends. So bonus, 2 topics that might do well short. All right, so you get all that, and boom, you're going to get a lot of ideas. I'm not going to go in and do it tonight because at this point, you need to know how to get over to your AI machine and put the content in and do it. All right, and generate your own results. If you need help with that, you can always reach out. We'll be more than happy to take you through it. All right, so here's something to think about. Again, a lot of guys, I get it. You're self-employed. You got into the business because you wanted to work for yourself. You didn't like working for someone else. And then somewhere along the line, you get lost, right? And now you're dreading working for yourself because you're wearing every single hat in the world. And really, you just wanted to dictate your schedule, but now your customers are dictating your schedule. The way you dictate your schedule is when you actually grow the business and you're not just self-employed. Well, to do that, you need to figure out marketing and how to attract customers, right? The more customers you have, the more business you get, and the more you can grow the company, the less hats you have to wear. So understand that it's not that marketing is a campaign. It's a conversation, right? So the more helpful and present you are, right? And the more people that trust you, that trust turns into book jobs in this industry. Trust is probably one of the first things that comes up out of most homeowners' mouths. They don't know who to trust. They don't know who to hire, right? They're not sure what's going to happen. They're scared to death of picking the wrong person. They're more scared of picking the wrong person than they are of finding the best person. Do you see what I'm saying? They're so focused on making a mistake and looking dumb, being shamed, like, people in their neighborhood thinking they don't know what they're doing. So many people are insecure. More people are insecure than you could ever imagine. Every time I think I've met somebody who's, I'm pretty cool, I'm comfortable, you find out, nope, they're pretty insecure, especially when it comes to like their neighborhood. So last thing we'll talk about here real quick is that content doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be you and your business, right? If you look at my information on my YouTube channel, you go to my website, I present information in a way. Some people love it, some people hate it, and that is perfect. In fact, if you aren't getting people to love it or hate it, then you're not putting enough of yourself out there. It's just the way the world works. I rub some people the wrong way, and some people like, yeah, man, we dig it. So, and you need to figure out how that works for you. While anyone could be your client, not everyone will be. Okay, does that make sense? So, at the end of the day, you just want to be visible, right? The more people I can be in front of, the more people I'll have a better chance of finding my people that like the content I have. So I'll give you this short story real quick. I used to have this summer job where I would go up and down several blocks on a beach resort, and I would take pictures for people. This is before there were smartphones. And we would actually take your photo at the beach, right? We get you and your family or your spouse or you by yourself. And I had a bunch of poses I could set you through. Now, almost nobody ever wants their picture taken by a stranger, right? So you're like, well, how did you make any money? So I learned to make a lot of money. I could pay for school. This was an amazing summer job, right? The way it worked was I would get to know the person. They would trust that I would do a good job making them look good and have fun in the experience. And then they would be uncomfortable enough to let me take their photo, right? So you have to build the trust first. And for some people, that meant me taking a few minutes out of my day each day from several days. Let's say they're on vacation for the week. I might meet them on Saturday, their first day at the beach, and I just slowly form a little bit, get to know them a little bit more every day during the week. Finally, come Thursday, boom, they want to get that picture thing taken. Okay. If someone's just down for the day, if I meet them at 10 in the morning, same thing. Oh, you're down for the day? Awesome. My name is this. Where are you from? Great. Well, listen, I want to be back around here after lunch. Be a good time to get, if you were interested, right? You're always building trust, and then the transaction will happen. Um, so anyway, keep that in mind. And otherwise, I will end the share as we have finished. This is day 23, guys. So we have done 23 days of our 30-day challenge, and we will be back again tomorrow. All right, have a good one.